So here I have the Moza Air 2. This is a sleeper gimbal, people. I'm telling you, it's a sleeper gimbal. We got a lot to talk about. If you haven't seen my all gimbals comparison video where I talk about 6 of my favorite mirrorless and DSLR single-handed gimbals, you can check it up here or down below. You'll know that the Moza Air, the original one, is one of my favorites, if not my favorite. So now I'm excited to announce that the Moza Air 2 is here, and damn, have they upgraded on them features. If you already know about the basic features, go ahead and skip forward so you don't waste any more time. But for those of you who are first learning about this thing, let me break it down for you. First of all, the weight of this is 3.5 pounds or 1.6 kilograms. If you're used to using the lighter gimbal setups for travel, like the Zhiyun Cranes, the Zhiyun Crane Plus, the original Moza, this might seem heavy to you. However, I've used the Tilted G2X, I've used the Ronin S, and both of those are around 4.1 pounds each, or 1.8 kilograms. So this is already half a pound lighter than the Ronin S and Tilted G2X. I love how customizable this is, especially that you can access everything with this menu here. You could change the lock, the follow, on the pan, roll, and tilt. You could roll with it and just roll with it. There's easy Inception Mode where you don't even need the joystick. Interchangeable batteries that last 16 hours, charges my Sony camera. I like this 2-part piece, I don't know what they call it, quick plate system, so it's easy to balance if you take it off and use it on a tripod and put it back on, which is something I actually do a lot on client gigs. So thank you for that design. I like that you don't have to unscrew the handle to get to the batteries and you can leave it on a tripod. That's nice. The lock feature, I can live without. It's an added bonus, but it's there. The motors are super powerful and smooth. They're customizable. You could auto-tune it. You could go into here or the app and change the sensitivity of it. If you have one of the more compatible cameras, you have access to more things like focus, shutter, aperture, viewing your footage. If you don't want to use a monitor, you don't really need to, because in the back here, this angled lower axis here allows you to see the screen really easily. But if you want to use a monitor, you can. You could easily mount it to this 3/8 inch screw. This control cable not only charges your batteries, but you could trigger the record and take photos, which has definitely become a requirement of mine when I want to choose a gimbal as my main, because it's just so much easier than clicking the button every single time since my hand is right here. Speaking of hand placement, this design of this handle is definitely my favorite. I know the design looks a lot like the Ronin S. It's almost kind of like a carbon copy. However, I find the DJI Ronin S had better material and grip. It was more like a thick rubber grip, which made it super comfortable to hold, even if it was 4.1 pounds. The joystick is amazing. I love the feel of it. It also is its own button that you could change each pan, roll, tilt axis individually. There's also a trigger button on the back, which is perfectly placed. I'm starting to really dig the trigger button gimbals. I know that wasn't really something that I thought I would need, but after a while, it's very convenient. You could also customize this trigger button in the menu settings. This other button here does several things. If you click it once, you have this sport mode with the pan that the DJI Ronin had and also the Zhiyun Cranes have, where you could pan it really fast and it'll be super sensitive to your movement. So if you're shooting cars, sports, fast movement, and you need to follow them pretty quickly, all you gotta do is push that one button. If you push it twice, you go into Inception Mode. And this gimbal by far has the best Inception Mode out of all the gimbals. Why? Because with your normal gimbals, you normally have to touch the joystick to rotate it like so. Most of you already know that. But with this dial here, all you gotta do is turn it either to the right or the left, and it changes the speed and you don't even have to touch it. If you hold it down, a feature that I love on any gimbal that has it, I know the Ronin S has it, a few other gimbals have it as well. The Moza Air also has it, the original one. But it's auto-tuning for you. So every time you change lenses, change your setup, you don't have to go into the menu and select ultralight, light, heavy, payloads. It'll just calibrate it for you. And look, it's done. So simple. This menu has it all. As you can see, there's a screen on here, which the Crane 2 has. I don't know if they're the first ones to have a screen on a single-handed gimbal, but man, it is a game changer. Now you don't even have to connect your app. All you gotta do if you wanna change literally anything, the sensitivity of the joystick, the sensitivity of the motors, the buttons, you could customize it. There's 3 configuration profiles, much like the Ronin S, where you could select settings and have profiles for 3 of them. If this isn't your first gimbal video, if you wanted to change any of the settings at all, you'd have to go into their designated app and change the parameters there. You can do everything on the app that you can do with the gimbal itself, except for time lapses, which I definitely want to do a whole video on motion time lapse because there's 3 different settings on there. Motion time lapse, kind of like a standard time lapse, and then a variable time lapse. By the way, Moza does a really good job with their time lapse because you could trigger the camera photo-wise, not video and sped up and here's a video of your time lapse. No. It's real time lapse that triggers photos. So if you want to shoot raw time lapse photos, you can. Yay, because you know Sony got rid of that time lapse app. I don't know why. So the payload on this thing, ooh, I don't know if you're ready for it, but they say that the payload is 9.3 pounds or 4.2 kilograms. That's insane, people. The Crane 2 is 7 pounds, the Tilted G2X, which is a really beefy, strong gimbal. The DJI Ronin S, which is also a really beefy, strong gimbal, can only hold 8 pounds. So of course you could put your G Masters on here, you could put a 1DX, you could probably put FS5s, FS7s if you really want to. It'd be really heavy, but you can. Anyways, that is a lot of features. Okay, enough with the yap. We're gonna see some test footage. Have fun. Roll the clip. It handles my steps pretty well. It handled my running really well, and I was running backwards, people. I was just running backwards and trying not to fall down with all this gear and keep Brian in the frame, in the center. I tilted down at the end as I was running a little bit to get his feet. For this scene, we just shot Brian running down the stairs to excitedly grab his package down here to reveal that. I'm gonna pull away from the door, tilt the gimbal down to reveal the box down here, and follow his movement as he grabs the box, hugs it, and runs back inside. So for that, we're gonna have the tilt on lock. It's one of my favorite modes. So it's gonna be an up, down, up motion. Let's shoot it. So we got the box inside, and I wanna kinda do a reveal shot, another reveal shot. They're really my favorite when using a gimbal, of the gimbal coming up and then tilting slowly over the box. And to do that, I gotta change out my lens. Right now we have the 24-70 G Master, and I'm gonna put the Sony 10-18. It's wider and lighter, so it'll be easier to lift it up and over. To do that, I wanted to change my joystick setting, the sensitivity, to make it really slow and fluid, so it doesn't just whoop, and I don't have to worry about touching it lightly. So to get into those settings, you go through the menu under Gimbal Set, Operations, Joystick, Sensitivity, and the up and down. I'll probably have it between 10 and 15. Right now it's at a 13. I'm gonna test it out a little bit, but it's gonna be in that area. So let's see that shot. When I'm doing orbitals, it tracks it really well. There's no weird jumps. Like if you move your hands a little too much, but you could change settings in there too to make it a little bit more smoother if you'd like. So by default, if you hold the trigger down, it'll trigger all lock. However, I trigger it and customize it through the menu to do tilt follow. So I always set my tilt to lock mode because it takes 3 clicks to change that. So I just leave that on lock mode back there, and when I hold this, it'll just turn it into follow mode. Super simple. I also customize the trigger if you push it once to shutter mode. However, it only takes photos, which is interesting. I wish it would record video, but maybe in a future update. If you don't have access to the focus features, they do have a wireless follow focus called the iFocus. So Moza in the future wants to put the accessories up here, such as microphones, LED lights, instead of putting it on the hot shoe. So you have more range of motion up there, I guess. I don't know, it's the first time I've seen that on a gimbal. I had a few questions about vertical shooting mode. If you had a cage, I don't see why it would not go. I wish I could test it for you. However, these motors are so strong. If it could hold a cinema camera, it could hold this, it could hold a zoom lens, even if you don't balance it correctly. Yeah, I think it's fine in vertical mode. Just be sure to get a cage or whatever attachment you need to attach this quick plate to your camera. A lot of people have been asking how to firmware update. You could either firmware update through the app or through your computer, but you have to put this in boot mode first. And then when you go into your phone and connect it via Bluetooth, it'll automatically say, do you want to update your firmware? Just click confirm, give it 5 minutes, and then it'll say update complete, and you're good to go. Turn it off, turn it back on, and you're all new. So yeah, fam, honestly, do I think it's better than the Ronin S? Yes. It's lighter, it holds a better payload, it has interchangeable batteries. There's a screen that's already built into it. It's not an add-on that you have to purchase separately. I don't know, it has time-lapse mode, it has more features for Sony cameras. That's a fucking steal in my opinion, yo. Like seriously. If you want to check current pricing, links are down below. You already know. You've been on YouTube for a while. If this is your first gimbal that you're looking forward to, just know it might be a little bit heavy for you. Just so you know, it doesn't sound heavy, 3.5 pounds, but then when you add a camera and batteries and lenses, if you work out your shoulders and your biceps, I have a gimbal workout video right here that will definitely help you. I didn't find it overbearing. I didn't find it to the point where I didn't want to shoot anymore. I would just put it down, take a break, and then was ready for the next shot. Because especially if you're shooting short films or stuff that takes preparation between shots, you could put the camera down. If you're shooting something like a wedding or a live event, however, and you gotta be on it all the time and you're walking around, okay, I see it as a problem in the weight category. Maybe look for another gimbal that's more lighter weight and have a lighter lens. So take that in consideration. If you have the attached mini tripod on there, it also helps as an extended handle. I always like to lean it just on my hip sometimes when I'm just holding it like this, so it takes the weight off of my arms. So a con with this gimbal, it's really hard to get into inverted mode like you would on the normal gimbals where you'd swing it around this way and then swing it back up. However, because of this lower motor here, you just flip it down like this and it's pretty easy. If you want to do inverted mode like you used to, it's pretty difficult. You probably have to turn it off, turn it back on, or really hold on to the side motor when you're flipping it around and then double click the trigger to recenter it. So it looks like there's 2 quick plates here. They're not technically 2 quick plates. Every time I want to take it off from the front, this button always gets stuck. It gets stuck on the corner here or it gets stuck on the back here, which kind of, it's frustrating sometimes. So I wish there was a better way for it to come out. But the quick plate that's on it, you could put it on other Manfrotto tripods. I've already tested it. Works really well. However, do not lose this quick plate because the Manfrotto tripods are not interchangeable. You cannot use it on here. You can customize this trigger to a certain extent. However, I really wish that you could customize it to tilt follow and tilt lock with just one button. But tilt follow is fine. I just set this one up here to tilt lock all the time. It'd be nice to set certain modes with the trigger because it's just so easy to access it. But there's no perfect gimbal, let's be real. They're always too heavy. They don't have enough batteries, they're made out of cheap materials, their apps don't work, it doesn't work with G Masters, the motors are too weak, whatever. There's always some sort of complaint towards any of these gimbals, so you just gotta go with what are your requirements, what are you willing to give up if it's not gonna be perfect. Like I said, it's for the price and what you get for it and the payload, it's amazing. I'm just letting you know this is my new favorite gimbal though. I can rely on it for client videos, for YouTubes. If I was traveling I would have to probably think twice about it. If I was doing time-lapse, I'd probably bring the original Moza Air because it's a lighter setup. I don't really like to bring the heavier setups with me unless I know for sure I'm gonna use the 24-70. Let me know in the comments below if you have any further questions, what gimbal you're rocking right now, and I'll see you down there. That's all I got. Thanks for hanging out with me. You do you, fam, and I'll see you when I see you. Don't forget to subscribe because I have a lot of upcoming tutorials, gear reviews, tips, business tips, fun stuff, collabs coming that I'm really excited about. So hit that subscribe button, give me a like, because it definitely helps with the algorithm, which hates me right now, but it's okay because I love you guys and it makes it all worth it anyhow. You do you, fam, and I'll see you when I see you. Done. Alrighty, folks. Shawty, what that thing do? Oh my God, I forgot what I was gonna say. There was something I was gonna say. Shoot. Let me see if I'm still recording. So what you shoot and how you shoot Why? Into an app to change all the parameters. Maybe I'll just cuddle with the Moza, my new love. Yeah, I'm a weirdo. I treat my gear like, oh, my husband's.